Yeah, I know. You guys are getting tired of those isekai anime with typical and cliche plots. But this isekai, or should I say reverse isekai manga, or maybe both? Anyway, let's get straight to the point. The ugly loser is freaking lucky. He picks up a very beautiful elf girl from a dungeon, just like in Danmachi, and then he creates his own harem. Yeah, it's quite a typical plot indeed. But hey, a man is always a man, right? The tale begins as the adventurer Akira Kudo moves through the Gandagia labyrinth. Just like always, slowly hunting for vampire bats, he finds himself in the familiar rhythm. In the darkness, a bird flits skillfully. As Akira takes down the vampire bats with his special lightning magic, he hums a little tune, joking to himself about the elemental weakness of flying monsters. Suddenly, a chorus of screams echoes off the stone walls from the other side of the floor. Heading straight towards him, Akira hears the distant sounds of someone in trouble and ponders the situation. Considering the potential danger, he can't help but think about the experience points and the chance to rescue or catch a wounded monster. Despite his reluctance, he decides to help. Usually he sticks to these levels, busy hunting vampire bats. He hasn't ventured beyond the level very often, but today seems to be full of surprises. The dark corridor of the Gandagia labyrinth is maddeningly damp compared to above ground, and the musty smell particular to this floor pushes the discomfort index past its upper limit. The strongest obstacles for adventurers are not the monsters, but the overwhelming stench and the sticky feeling underfoot, worsening the further one proceeds. This terrible environment discourages many from going further, but Akira Kudo decides to press on, determined despite the discomfort. Akira finds the situation disgusting, wondering why it has to smell so bad here. Akira suddenly notices a dome-shaped open space beyond the darkness. This unexpected sight piques his curiosity, so he moves forward, adjusting the mountaineering light in his safari hat to maximum brightness and checking the fit of his safari jacket. In the dome plaza, which seemed to be the boss room of the dark corridor, a massive boss-class monster and a silver-haired girl are locked in a fierce battle. Regretting the decision that led him here for the sake of experience points, Akira hides in the shadows beside the corridor, peering into the boss room. Several boss-class monsters lurk in the dark corridor, but the one before him is a towering, four-armed, two-legged demon with a goat's head and a super muscular body. It resembles a bodybuilder who would send even the bravest fleeing in terror, and it swings a halberd as massive as its physique. The girl fighting the boss monster appears to be about the same age as Akira. She has long silver hair tied in a large ponytail, the ends curled up like a squirrel's tail. Despite using her fists in hand-to-hand combat, she wears thin, rugged clothes with her only armor being chunky black gauntlets and leggings. Despite her appearance, she seems fearless, facing the monstrous foe with determination and grit. What's even more distinctive about the girl are her unusually long ears. Thin and pointed, the ear tips droop downwards, likely around 15 to 20 centimeters long. Akira recognizes her as a member of the long-eared tribe. In the world of Domelta, this tribe is said to be the most beloved by the blue goddess Sophia, who governs beauty and battle. Members of this tribe, regardless of gender, possess beautiful looks, strong magical powers, immense strength, and high intelligence. They are considered an incredibly superior species, essentially the prideful cheat of Domelta. However, their numerous gifts make them the object of envy and jealousy from other races, mainly humans. This, combined with their breathtaking appearance, often results in them being traded as slaves. Akira wonders if being too perfect has its own set of problems. Upon closer inspection, Akira notices that the girl fighting the boss monster wears a mana-imbued collar and an iron ball, indicating she's been brought into the labyrinth as a combat slave. Akira's eyes scan the boss room, searching for the slave owner who seems the most troublesome opponent in this situation. He spots men and women equipped with weapons and armor lying dead in the cobblestones, likely the source of the earlier screams. It becomes clear that these individuals had met their unfortunate end at the hands of the monstrous boss. The adventurers had encountered the boss and fought valiantly, but their efforts had been in vain. They met their end, leaving the long-eared girl as the only one still fighting. Despite being the most dominant race, she finds herself at a disadvantage. Bound by magical shackles that limit her powers as a slave, she struggles against the boss, unable to use her abilities to their full extent. Akira, despite himself, feels the urge to help. His internal monologue tries to justify his actions, insisting it's not because she's a cute girl or because he feels sorry for slaves. He tells himself it's purely for the experience points, though even he doesn't fully believe it. He feels a bit embarrassed about his good intentions, but he gathers his magical powers nonetheless. The boss, still distracted by the long-eared girl, doesn't seem to notice Akira's presence. The room, filled with lit candles, offers a perfect cover. The magical light that leaks out when Akira uses his magic blends with the candlelight, making it less likely to be noticed by the towering demon. Akira readies himself, aiming to turn the tide of the battle and assist the long-eared girl. Akira knows the only thing left to do is charge up the necessary magical power to unleash a spell powerful enough to defeat any monster in one hit, boss or not. He prays the girl doesn't get knocked down before he can act. Muttering an apology for any potential delay, Akira concentrates on charging his spell. Meanwhile, the girl is blown away by a powerful blow from the boss, slamming into the wall. She lies on the floor, unable to move as the boss swings his giant halberd, putting her in a desperate situation. However, Akira knows he'll make it in time. The charging completes, and with a burst of energy, he unleashes his spell. The long-eared girl suddenly wakes up from her listless slumber. Apparently, she's been sleeping. Dim and dazed, still in the state of mind, she gets up and checks the situation. Looking around, she realizes this is not the dark corridor of the Gendeki labyrinth. Instead, she finds herself in the remnants of the Amber Wall, the safe zone in the middle of this zone. However, the fact that she has been sleeping inside the labyrinth and that she has fallen asleep despite being a slave makes her shiver. When she unconsciously hugs her body, she realizes she's covered with an excessively soft and thick cloth. Just as she's about to be captivated by the softness of the fabric, she senses someone nearby. Turning her eyes in that direction, she sees a strange boy using a mysterious magical tool to boil water. Akira notices she's woken up and smiles, informing her that he is currently making corn soup. The term corn soup is unfamiliar to her, but hearing a human voice gradually clears the fog in her head. He explains that she should remain quiet for now because he used too much magical power and he couldn't cast enough healing magic on her, so she might still be in pain. Indeed, the pain in her body remains. She recalls being hit hard, which likely explains the aches. She wonders where she is, remembering she was fighting a boss. The boy, almost cheerfully, mentions that the boss of this dark corridor is gone now, thanks to both of them. When she asks if he defeated the boss, he clarifies that because she attracted the boss, he had enough time to charge up the necessary magic. He was able to defeat it. Akira tells her that she's giving him a murderous glare. He says that it is understandable that she's wary of humans. The girl, however, remains defensive and asks if he saved her to make her his slave. When she raises her fist to his chin, Akira flinches and becomes anxious, perhaps due to his timid nature. He hastily explains that he only defeated the boss for experience points and has no intention of making her his slave. She asks if he's serious, and Akira, feeling a bit playful, admits he did have some naughty fantasies about it for a moment, though he means no harm. In response, she grabs him by the neck with her hand and applies pressure, causing him to struggle and cry out in feeble resistance. Akira exclaims that he's going to die, and she eventually lets go. Akira, with tears in his eyes, says how mean she is, even though he saved him. She thanks him, though she quickly shifts the topic to inquire about the others with her. As she moves towards him, Akira panics and asks if it's a good idea for her to move in her current state, considering her torn clothes and the fact that her melons are quite exposed. Oh hell no, not that mystery censorship again. Embarrassed, she quickly covers herself and demands to know if he has looked at her. Akira sheepishly admits that he might have glanced a little while carrying her. However, answering her question, Akira informs her that the man with him is dead, as by the time he arrived it was too late. He adds that he likely passed without a trace, embraced by the black monster goddess Onyx. The girl, though giving a disinterested reply, feels relieved that her slave master is dead. Akira inquires if she was brought there as a combat slave. She nods in response, explaining that she was brought to the town as a slave just the other day. Forced to fight in the labyrinth, she had to get used to the shackles of slavery and venture deep into the dark corridor. She mentions that the boss was too much for her group to handle, and the leader of the group got cocky because she was with them. Akira comments that it's a common thing when a strong person joins a team. The team mistakenly thinks they become stronger. The girl agrees, saying that they had the illusion of great power because of the strong slave they acquired and let their guard down. Despite initially thinking Akira seemed a bit of a wimp, the girl notices the unmistakable look in his eyes. They are the eyes of someone accustomed to fighting, someone who has dived into labyrinths repeatedly and become seasoned by the experience. The girl, feeling uneasy, asks what he plans to do with her. Akira, attempting to be playful, suggests that, as a magician, he could force her into a slave contract. The girl sternly replies that she will break him. Akira immediately panics, apologizing profusely and admitting he was joking. He begs her not to hit him, stressing that if she, one of the most powerful species in Demelta, hits him, he could seriously die. The girl, puzzled, thinks about how strange he is. As a wizard, he should have no trouble controlling slaves, yet he genuinely seems scared. She wonders if he's really a coward, but considering he ventured alone in such a deep labyrinth, it seems unlikely. His fear appears genuine, not an act. Later, Akira changes the subject by cheerfully announcing that the water is boiling and it's time for corn soup. He takes a cup from his bag, adds some yellow powder, and pours the boiling water over it. The girl, skeptical, asks if it's medicine. Akira reassures her, explaining that it's a hot drink and she can safely drink it, insisting there's nothing weird in it. She cautiously accepts the offer. As soon as Akira mentions it, the girl brings the cup to her mouth. As a sticky soup fills her mouth, a sweet, savory flavor spreads throughout, making her completely happy. Before she knows it, the cup is empty. Akira, pleased, comments on her enthusiastic response, noting that she seems to like it. The girl, intrigued, asks what it is. She has never heard of a drink like this before. Akira explains that it's called corn soup, a legendary drink said to be created by the otherworldly god Nor, using many people and mechanisms. In the winter, it's treasured alongside hot coffee for warming the hearts of people commuting to work or school by train. The girl, astonished, wonders if he's really offering her something so precious. Akira, a bit sheepish, admits that they were on sale yesterday and was super cheap, under 100 yen a box. Feeling tricked, the girl glares at him. Akira quickly apologizes, pleading for her not to punch him and offering her another cup of soup to placate her. While enjoying the second cup of soup, she asks for his name. Akira introduces himself, explaining that his name is Kudo Akira, with Kudo as his surname and Akira as his given name. The girl responds, introducing herself as Skrell. He hands her a long coat, which she wears as they make their way out of the labyrinth. As they step outside, the number of curious looks increases, but they pretend not to notice and keep walking. Soon they reach the Adventurers Guild. Akira heads toward the counter, noticing that there are no adventurers and the person in charge is free. He calls out to Ashley, the red-haired receptionist, who waves back with a smile and asks about his day. Ashley greets him cheerfully, inquiring if he made any money. Akira replies that it's the same as usual. Hearing this, Ashley's cheerful smile changes to one of obvious dissatisfaction. She remarks that she was hoping he made a lot of money so she could ask him to buy her something, finding the situation boring. Akira, slightly exasperated, suggests that Ashley should stop taking advantage of younger people. Ashley reminds Akira that men, regardless of age, have an obligation to treat women well. She then asks where he has been and what he has been doing. Akira sighs, explaining that he was in the dark hunting vampire bats to his heart's content and raised his level. Ashley looks shocked, remarking that only Akira would do something like that solo. Then she notices the cute girl with him and questions her presence. She doubts a girl from the long-eared tribe would match with Akira, given his ordinary face. Akira, feeling a bit hurt, asks her not to say such nasty things so casually. Ashley suddenly notices the collar around Skrell's neck, realizing something. She dramatically comments on how Akira seems to be taking the wrong steps to adulthood, resorting to devilish methods, and expresses her sadness. Akira quickly denies that Skrell is a slave, insisting that it's not like that. Ashley reassures him, saying that she was just kidding. She then mentions remembering Skrell from a while ago, noting that she was a combat slave taken along by a member of the Star of Karanka. Then Skrell explains that they made it to the boss-level area of the Dark Corridor, where her master was defeated by a 4-armed, 2-legged goat demon, and died. Ashley, showing little sympathy, acknowledges the situation and mentions that she will report it to the person in charge later. She then asks Skrell what she plans to do now that her slave master is dead, but she still has the shackles of a slave. Skrell firmly states she does not want to go back to being a slave. Akira, attempting to help, suggesting using Dispelle. Both Skrell and Ashley look at him with expressions that seem to say, "What is this guy talking about?" Dispelle is a general-purpose magic that can dispel the effects of magic. Its official name is Exorcism Dispelle. Since the amount of magical power required varies depending on the strength of the magic, Akira has refrained from using it until now. However, since they are no longer inside the labyrinth, there is no need to conserve magical power. He thinks he can just take a short rest to regain his power if needed. As he warms up by clenching and opening his hands and rotating his shoulders, Skrell shakes her head, informing him that the slave's collar cannot be removed by Dispelle. Ashley explains to Akira that once a slave collar is put on, it can never be taken off. Akira questions who decided that and points out that it's just magic cast on the collar, which can be removed. Ashley, intrigued, insists that it's common knowledge that a slave's collar can never be removed, citing the guild manual as a source. Akira exhales and begins explaining. Magic is the act of a magician creating extraordinary results by connecting cause and effect. This collar has magic cast on it to bind her, meaning there's a link between cause and effect. A firm rope. If they can cut this rope, they can sever the outcome. Though he sounds confident, Akira is merely repeating what his master told him. In modern Japan, he's a high school student, but in this world, he can use magic better than others thanks to his master who taught him. Squirrel, who's been listening silently, looks at Akira with anxious eyes and asks if he's sure he can do this. Akira reassures her and, instead of reaching for his safari bag, he pulls out all the magic potions he can from his magical storage space, the Void Dimension bag, and gulps them down. Ashley, shocked, exclaims at the sight, noting that each high-grade magic potion costs 5 gold coins. As expected, she's sensitive to expensive things. Akira, having just consumed potions worth the equivalent of 200,000 Japanese yen, places the empty flask back into his dimension bag and places his palm over the collar to cast his spell. He chants a strange-sounding spell, and the collar is enveloped in pale light before separating from Squirrel's neck and falling to the floor with a clang. Akira sighs with relief, remarking that he's glad he didn't waste the 200,000 yen, as that's an eye-popping amount for a student. He earned all his money in the labyrinth, so he doesn't have any regrets. When he looks over, Squirrel is staring blankly at the now undone collar, seemingly in disbelief that she's finally free from its grasp. Meanwhile, Ashley marvels at Akira's abilities, questioning why he didn't remove the collar sooner if he could do something so amazing. Akira, a bit exasperated, explains that after defeating the boss and using healing magic, his magical power was extremely low. Attempting a spell like Dispel without knowing its exact power consumption could have left him lost in the labyrinth. Even now, his magical power is pretty low despite drinking 4 high-grade magic potions. Ashley, setting aside the potion talk, expresses doubt that Akira really defeated the 4-armed, 2-legged goat demon, suspecting he might have just run away. Akira confirms that he did defeat the boss. Otherwise, there's no way he could have brought Squirrel back. Curious about Akira's abilities, Ashley asks what level he is now. Akira reveals that he's at level 33, showing her the metal plate given to him by God when he arrived in this world. The plate automatically records his level and the number of monsters he has defeated. Ashley sighs, noting that it's about time Akira raised his rank. She finds it odd for a level 33 magician to be in the 30,000 range. Akira admits he knows, but finds the process a hassle and doesn't mind staying where he is. Ashley remarks that he's still as weird as ever. Akira understands her point, but he knows that raising his rank would only bring more trouble. He wants to avoid recruitment attempts, jealousy, or harassment. His goal is to enjoy a leisurely life as an adventurer and the pleasure of leveling up. He shifts the focus back to the immediate concern, asking Ashley to register Squirrel as an adventurer. Ashley agrees, noting that registering her as an adventurer would place her under the guild's control, making it difficult for anyone to enslave her. Akira then hands over a core stone he secured after defeating the 4-armed, 2-legged goat demon, offering it as the deposit required for registration. Akira mentions that he needs to study for his exams, so he leaves the rest to Ashley. Just as he's about to leave, he feels a tug in his sleeve. He turns around to see Squirrel with her head down, clutching his sleeve tightly. Squirrel, her voice filled with emotion, asks why he went to such lengths and wasted so much money on her, a slave. Akira responds with a smile, explaining that he looks forward to exploring the labyrinth and would hate to have a bad experience there. He assures her that he's mostly doing it for his own sake, so she shouldn't worry about it. An adventurer is the collective name for explorers who investigate the interior of the Gandakia Labyrinth, a dungeon located roughly in the center of the otherworld Domurda. They collect labyrinth materials and defeat monsters. The term diver comes from the sight of these explorers descending one after another into a hole leading underground, resembling divers entering the water. Now that the hole has been repaired and turned into a staircase, it's impossible to see any traces of the past. However, the name stuck. The adventurers who explore the labyrinth are still called divers to this day. It's hard to imagine that the entrance to the labyrinth, once a den of evil where monsters endlessly poured out, is now a place of rest for adventurers. The area features rows of counters where adventurers can report their progress, over 200 tables and chairs, a dining hall to serve hungry adventurers returning from the labyrinth, and a simple water station near the entrance where adventurers can wash their dirty clothes. It's truly a one-stop shop, catering to all the needs of brave souls who dare to dive into the depths of the Gandakia Labyrinth. Akira is gazing blankly at the others, engrossed in eating the hard-fried potato chips. Suddenly, Miguel High Junkers approaches him. Miguel, smelling strongly of alcohol, asks how the economy is treating Akira and if he's making a profit. Akira, noticing the smell, exclaims that Miguel is drinking again in the middle of the day. Miguel proudly responds that being able to drink in the middle of the day is what a man would call romance and offers Akira a drink. Akira politely declines, stating he still doesn't like alcohol. Miguel, unfazed, decides to take Akira's strange snack instead. Akira warns him that the chips are hard and dangerous, but Miguel doesn't hesitate to snatch them. Miguel asks what Akira means by be careful, to which Akira replies that if one isn't careful, they can get stabbed by the sharp edges. Miguel breaks a chip with a crack, enjoying the salty, crunchy texture. He notes that it's a great snack, especially paired with alcohol. Seeing Miguel's enthusiasm, Akira offers him the entire bag. Miguel, delighted, smiles and starts enjoying his weak beer and potato chips. He crunches away, commenting that the chips have the perfect amount of salt and that the things Akira brings are always delicious. He asks if it's really okay for him to take them all. Akira reassures him, mentioning he has another bag. He pulls out hard fried potatoes with black pepper flavor from a safari bag on the floor, ready to share more of his snacks. Miguel, intrigued, asks for that bag too. Miguel is surprised by the use of pepper for seasoning, noting that they don't usually use it that way. Akira finds it amusing, reflecting that food preservation and aging techniques in Demelta are quite immature compared to modern times. Salt and spices are generally prioritized for food preservation and emergency stockpiling, and it might take several hundred years for potato chips like these to exist here. Returning to the main topic, Miguel asks if Akira still earns a good living on the upper floors. Akira, stretching the truth, assures him that he does. Miguel, always looking for opportunities, wonders if Akira wants to make even more money. Akira reminds Miguel that he prefers to avoid dangerous things, noting that one can make good money just by picking medicinal herbs in the Great Forest ruins. He refers to it as weeding, despite Miguel's objections. Miguel waves his hands dismissively, saying he was just making conversation. Akira shifts the focus, asking about Miguel's earnings. Assuming he's making a lot of money given his rank, Miguel proudly states that his team's rank is now 258th, grinning and asking if that isn't great. In a guild with nearly 50,000 registered adventurers, being ranked 258th is indeed impressive. Akira, noticing Miguel's recent hard work, asks what spurred the sudden effort. Miguel explains that with many new faces appearing recently, he can't afford to be careless. Curious, Akira inquires about the new and amazing adventurers these days. Miguel starts by mentioning the team Protection of Secret Water, highlighting that they have 2 blue wizards with them. Akira, recalling, notes that he's seen them before, the team of the twins in blue robes. Miguel then mentions a solo ranker from the long-eared tribe. Akira, surprised, guesses that Miguel must be talking about Skrell. He thinks it's impressive that she's managing to live freely in the city of Frida. Curious, Miguel asks Akira about his own adventurer rank. Akira replies that he thinks he's at rank 32,083. Miguel remarks that his rank is too low. Akira explains that he's only been here for 6 months and is slowly fledgling. Miguel denies this, pointing out that Akira normally just agrees to whatever the receptionist asks him to do and questions if he has applied for level registration properly. Akira admits that it's too troublesome, so he just passes on it. Miguel realizes that Akira doesn't really care about his rank. Akira replies honestly, mentioning there are loads more fun things to do here instead, like leveling up, trying delicious labyrinth food, leveling up some more, or inventing new items to help with exploration. Since there is no dive limit for any rank, he sees no point in ranking up. Miguel disagrees, pointing out that there are plenty of other benefits to ranking up. Akira acknowledges this but explains that he doesn't want to risk his life on dangerous labyrinth quests or meet rank quotas. Miguel then suggests that Akira joins their team. Akira finds the invitation too sudden. Miguel counters, reminding him that it's not the first time he's been suddenly invited. He may dress weirdly, but he's a bona fide wizard. Akira quickly denies being a wizard, but Miguel isn't buying it. Miguel insists he knows for a fact that Akira is indeed a wizard. Akira, puzzled, wonders how Miguel found out since he hasn't told many people. He asks Miguel who spilled the beans. Miguel reveals that it was Ashley who told him. He adds that Akira never carries a proper weapon, yet always returns safely, leading Miguel to think he's some kind of prodigy. Akira can't help but joke, wondering if this breaches the guild's non-disclosure agreement. Miguel mentions that it's all perfectly legal, as long as the higher-ups remain clueless. With a playful grin, he urges Akira to join in, reminding him that their team always needs a wizard. Akira sighs and points out that it's not just their team. Every group is short of wizards. Miguel counters with a smirk, noting that even though he understands, a skilled wizard like Akira still prefers to adventure solo. Akira defends his choice, explaining that everyone wants to dive into the most dangerous parts of the labyrinth, while he just wants a peaceful life as an adventurer every now and then. Miguel shakes his head, calling it a waste of talent. He then curiously asks Akira what kind of magic he has, wondering if it's fire or water. Akira calmly responds that it's lightning. Miguel, looking puzzled, asks what lightning even is. Akira explains, talking about thunder and lightning, asking if Miguel has ever seen streaks of bright light fall from the sky on stormy days. Miguel's eyes widen in shock, and he asks Akira if he's referring to Amethyst's hammer. Akira clarifies that his experience isn't that dramatic. He recalls a story his grandfather told him, saying that if someone goes to the edge of the world, they can witness the wrath of the Purple Father, Amethyst. He even heard that a country fell because of it. Miguel, half skeptical and half excited, asks if Akira is serious and if he can actually use his power. He warns Akira not to be joking around and then eagerly urges him to show his skills. Akira raises his finger, letting sparks of lightning dance around it. Miguel stares in astonishment, commenting that Akira is basically a purple wizard. Akira shrugs, agreeing with a hint of amusement. Miguel declares that Akira is the world's first confirmed purple wizard. He then pleads with Akira to join his team again, vowing to chug as much alcohol as he can until Akira says yes. Akira, noting Miguel's unusual persistence today, asks why he can't just take no for an answer. Miguel responds with a grin, saying that at first, he only invited Akira because he could survive the labyrinth. But now that he knows Akira is a purple wizard, there's no way he's letting him slip away. Scheming to escape Miguel's persistent offer, Akira asks if he really loves alcohol. Miguel replies, saying it's obvious. Take away his alcohol and all that's left is a regular womanizer. Akira smiles slyly and tells him he has a special treat, and takes out a mysterious bottle. Miguel, curious, asks what it is, noting that he's never seen anything like it in Frida. Akira explains that it's a mythical class liquor created by the god of sake from another world, cold, old whiskey. He adds that it's available for a limited time. Miguel sighs, skeptical, and tells Akira that as the master of alcohol who has tasted every single drink in Frida, if this mystical sake doesn't live up to his expectations, Akira knows what's coming. Miguel pours the whiskey into a glass. Akira warns him that the whiskey is said to be very strong, so he should be careful. Miguel boasts that he's the man who drank Frida's biggest bottle of Firehawk in a single night. He smells the whiskey. The pungent aroma gives him a good feeling. He takes a sip and his expression becomes almost otherworldly. He grabs Akira by the shoulders and exclaims that the drink is sweet, sticks to the mouth, and ends with a surprising kick of alcohol. He has never tasted anything like it in his entire life. Miguel demands to know where Akira got it and if he has any more. Akira tells Miguel that this is all he has. Miguel then asks if he can get some more because he would be willing to buy it. Akira shakes his head, saying it's probably impossible. Miguel isn't pleased with the word impossible. Akira reassures him, saying he'll bring more if he ever gets the chance. At that moment, a man with the face of a lion enters. His name, Dragarian. Both Akira and Miguel wave to him. Dragarian approaches and asks if they're planning on diving into the labyrinth. Miguel confirms that this is indeed the plan. Dragarian is a member of the Beast Head clan and is skilled enough to delve into the lowest depths of Frida's Gandagi labyrinth. He is also known as Frida's most famous and bravest hero. Dragarian turns to Akira and opens his mouth wide. Akira panics and pleads with him not to eat him. Dragarian, chuckling, reassures him that he's just joking. He tells Akira the word around town is that he's been helping people recently, and that's a good thing. Akira, a bit flustered, guesses he's talking about Skrell, explaining that he just wanted to gain some experience points. Dragarian nods and says that even after rescuing her from the labyrinth, Akira went above and beyond to help her further. He mentions hearing that Akira persuaded the guild to give her a chance to become an adventurer, a story he got from Ashley. Dragarian then bursts into laughter before quickly turning serious and advising Akira to avoid evil deeds and always do what is right. Akira reflects on how everyone has told him to do the right thing, especially the god and the hero's childhood friend. But when Dragarian says it, it feels like a promise he should never break. Miguel comments that it's rare for Dragarian to praise anyone like that. Meanwhile, Akira thinks about how he's used up all his high magic potions, and his stock of rare boss magic stone cores has dwindled. He realizes he needs to make some money. He stands up and tells the others that it's time for him to get going. Miguel asks if Akira is planning to dive into the labyrinth. Akira nods, mentioning that he needs to save a ton of money, so he's going to do his best. Miguel then inquires if Akira is planning to buy something specific. Akira grins and admits that he's actually craving another steak from a white-horned cow. He explains that on the top floor of the Adventurers Guild, there's a world-class restaurant that serves these exclusive steaks. The price is so high it could make eyeballs pop out of their sockets, but once someone tastes it, they never forget it for the rest of their life. Akira declares that he can't help himself. This time, he's going to eat like a barbarian. Miguel comments that Akira seems to be burning with ambition and notes that it's good to be greedy sometimes. Miguel then sets a condition, saying he will let Akira go only if he promises not to join any other team. Akira agrees, saying that if he ever joins someone else's team, it will be either by force or under pressure. Miguel sighs and concedes, saying he will give up this time, but one day he will definitely have Akira join his team. The next day, Squirrel approaches Akira. Seeing her, Akira greets her warmly, saying it's been a while and asks how she's liking Frida. Squirrel tells him that it's not much different from village life, eating, learning, and sleeping, but with a bit more hunting and killing for money. Akira comments that she's already getting used to the adventurous lifestyle. He asks if she ever thinks about going back to her village, mentioning that just because she's registered as an adventurer, it doesn't mean she has to stay in Frida. Squirrel replies that she has more reasons to stay here. When Akira asks what those reasons are, she simply makes a straight face and says it's nothing. Akira asks Squirrel if she has made any new friends. Squirrel replies that she doesn't need that sort of thing. Akira suggests that it might be nice to have someone to talk to, but Squirrel says she doesn't really trust anyone here. Akira reflects that members of the long-eared tribe already have a natural dislike for humans, and given that she was recently enslaved by them, it's understandable. Akira tells her that most of the people in Frida are pretty shady. Squirrel agrees, saying that the constant attempts to recruit her are the most irritating part. Akira nods, mentioning that he's seen a lot of wizards get bombarded by people trying to recruit them, and he doesn't want that happening to him at all. Squirrel wonders aloud why Akira hasn't been harassed in the same way. Akira mentions that it's not because of the way he dresses while in Frida. Squirrel asks if that's why he dresses so strangely. Akira replies that he doesn't do it on purpose, but she's not entirely wrong. He explains that wizards in the world usually wear robes to hide their class, so his safari look is meant to throw people off and avoid being seen as a weirdo. Squirrel tells Akira to call her Squirrel, saying she would prefer that name. Akira asks if she's going to dive into the labyrinth. Squirrel tells him that she just got back from one and asks what he plans to do right now. Akira mentions that he's planning to have a steak, as it's been a while since he last had one. Squirrel asks if he would mind if she joins him. Akira points out that the steak is very expensive. Squirrel jokes, asking him to treat her. Akira quickly counters, saying no, as it would be too costly to pay for both of them. Squirrel laughs and assures him she can pay for herself. Akira, still a bit skeptical, asks if he's sure. Squirrel shows him her bag full of coins. Akira comments that she's pretty loaded. Squirrel replies she has made a ton of money and hands it over to Akira, saying she wants to pay him back for the last time. Akira, puzzled, asks her if he lent her some money. Squirrel reminds him about the high-grade magic potions and the boss magic stone core. Akira assures her that she doesn't have to worry about paying him back. Squirrel reminds him that he's the one who insisted she pay him back. Akira counters, saying he only mentioned she could pay back if she wanted to, not that she needed to. Squirrel firmly tells him to just take the money. Akira jokes about what if he doesn't accept, and Squirrel playfully threatens to give him a sucker punch. Later, they both arrive at the restaurant. The waiter asks what they would like, and Akira confidently orders 2 white-horn beefsteaks. These steaks cost 5 gold coins each, which is about 50,000 yen. Squirrel is excited because it's her first steak. When the waiter brings the steaks, they look as scrumptious as the first time Akira had one. Akira then takes out some black pepper, grated garlic, and soy sauce. He generously seasons the steak with black pepper, slathers on a good amount of garlic, and finishes it off with a dash of soy sauce. Squirrel looks astonished at Akira's seasoning ritual. The waiter starts to tell them that bringing in external items is not allowed, but before he can finish, Squirrel grabs him by the neck, telling him not to interrupt Akira. They both start eating, and Akira finds the steak as delicious as it was before. He looks at Squirrel and can tell by her expressions that she's having the best meal she's ever had. Her ears twitch with delight, showing just how much she's enjoying it. The waiter approaches them again and asks where they got such high-quality pepper, grated garlic, and the fragrant sauce. Akira replies with a sly grin, saying it's a secret. Just then, an overexcited Squirrel exclaims how delicious and amazing the steak is. She enthusiastically pours more soy sauce onto her steak. Akira suggests she adds some extra butter as well. As she does and takes a bite, she looks like she's in another world. Akira reflects on how the taste of mushrooms and potatoes seasoned with soy sauce and butter is simply beyond words. Just then, Dragarian enters the restaurant. He strides over to Akira and opens his mouth, roaring. Akira, panicked, tells him to stop and not to eat him, joking that even in a restaurant he's not in the menu. Dragarian sighs and reminds Akira that he has no intention of eating him and wonders when Akira will get used to his presence. Akira replies that it's impossible to get used to someone with the head of a lion. Akira then asks Dragarian what he's doing here. Drugarian replies that he was running an errand, but the fierce aroma caught his attention and irritated his nose. Pointing at Akira's sauces, he asks if those jars are the source of the scent. Drugarian begs Akira to sell him all that seasoning, insisting he doesn't care about the cost and will pay whatever Akira wants. Akira, always generous, replies that Drugarian has been helping him out so much that he'll just give him everything for free. Drugarian is pleasantly surprised, but Skrell quickly interjects, saying she's ordering another plate and wants to use the seasonings one more time. Drugarian agrees, saying he doesn't mind waiting. Later, Drugarian picks up the bottle of soy sauce and marvels at it, saying that this must be what makes the steak so sublime. Meanwhile, Skrell, as innocent as ever, remarks that soy sauce is simply amazing and goes well with everything. Drugarian comments that it's quite different from salt but still has that salty kick. Akira reflects that cats shouldn't be eating something so high in sodium, but since Drugarian is a strange race from another world, it seems fine. If he overthinks these things, he'll go insane. Just then, Drugarian orders the waiter to bring him 5 plates of steak as soon as possible. When the steaks arrive, Drugarian dives into them, going wild with his eating. He exclaims that the taste is almost violent. His mouth feels like it's being assaulted in the best way possible. He finds the unrefined yet intensely flavorful way of eating almost taming his wild side. As they finish their meal, Akira jokes that next time, he might bring wasabi soy sauce. Since you're Asian too, what about the MSG? You're being disgraceful for being an Asian. What a failure. Days later, Akira is just busy being a weeb in the fabled forest path. He comes across an orc and wonders why an orc is hanging out in a place like this. The orc attacks, sending him flying. Covered in mud from head to toe, he gets up, turns around, and runs for his life. The orc starts chasing him. As he runs, tears streaming down his face, Akira wishes it would stop chasing him. He questions what has happened, if it's a deserter and how it ended up here. He fervently hopes it's all just a bad dream. Akira thinks that it's just a regular monster, but the Red Iron Gear mine is its usual hangout spot, not this fabled forest path. He realizes this guy shouldn't have spawned here. Trying to calm down, he takes slow breaths and reassures himself that he'll be fine if he handles it properly. He uses Tier 3 magic, Amethyst's Lightning Orbit, combined with Tier 2 magic, Amethyst's Lightning Shake, and attacks. The combined attack is so powerful that the pork orc goes flying, smacks its head onto a tree, and loses consciousness. Looking at the unconscious orc, Akira mutters to himself, asking for a break. This is supposed to be the fabled forest path where beginners hang out. So why is there an orc from the Red Iron Gear mine here? It scared him so badly he nearly had a heart attack. On the bright side, he guesses it was some nice experience, though getting mud in all his clothes really sucks. He hopes no other beginner runs into an orc this year because if a newbie faces devilish brute, they would probably have ended up toast. Akira decides he should alert the other adventurers about the surprise visitor, and then report it to Ashley. Later, Akira heads back to the Adventurers Guild. Seeing him covered in mud, Ashley asks if he went swimming or something. Akira hands her something and tells her to take a look. Ashley glances at it and responds it's just an orc's ear. No big deal. Akira explains that it's from an orc he defeated in the fabled forest path. Shocked, Ashley wonders if he's trying to pull a fast one on her. Akira insists he wouldn't prank her with something like that. Ashley asks if there were any others or just that one. Akira replies that it's the only one he encountered, but it might have been a straggler. Ashley thanks the heavens that it was Akira who found it. Without wasting any time, Ashley picks up her bell and starts ringing it, announcing the news about a devil-faced demon sighted at Layer 5 in the fabled forest path. She advises low-level adventurers to refrain from entering the labyrinth until safety is confirmed. Akira sighs with relief, but then realizes his clothes are still muddy. Not wanting to return to Japan looking like a swamp creature, he hurries to the washing and bathing area attached to the Adventurers Guild to clean up. Just then, Skrell spots him and asks if something is the matter since his outfit is so dirty. Akira replies that he just got spooked by a devil-faced demon and fell down. Skrell asks if it's related to the warning from earlier. Akira confirms, saying he was the first one to report it, and now he's off to wash the dirt off. He tells her he'll catch up with her later. Skrell seems to follow him. He asks her what's up. Skrell says she will help wash him. Akira is shocked by this. Skrell explains that it's hard for a single person to wipe their whole body properly. Akira, still surprised, agrees, and they both proceed. Akira wonders if they're really going to the bathroom together. Skrell, without hesitation, says yes, and they both enter. Skrell begins to take her clothes off. Akira, flustered, asks why she's getting naked. Skrell replies that if she stays dressed, her clothes will get wet. She tells him to get naked already and stop asking questions. Akira is a mix of embarrassed, shocked, and everything in between seeing her in this state. Skrell tells Akira to turn around, and as he does, she starts removing his clothes. He then wipes off all the dirt from his body. Akira feels as if they've broken through a lot of barriers in one go. Bro, I think you need this. Enjoy your time with her. We have to skip this plot since it's just some lewd stuff. Trust me, no sex happened between them. On this day, Ashley repeatedly asks Akira to take up some patrol quests. He politely declines each time. Akira thinks to himself that while he doesn't mind helping people, spending all his time doing so would leave him with no time for himself. Plus, why should he risk trying to eliminate monsters lurking 30+ meters deep when there are adventurers who can take them out in one shot with a flick of their wrist? Akira doesn't want to fight monsters without proper preparation. He believes preparation is key to a safe dive inside the labyrinth, his personal motto. It's like he's got a checklist for everything, right down to double knotting his shoelaces. Deciding to head home, he feels his gut telling him to end the day on a good note. He worries that if he stays any longer, something weird is bound to happen. Just then a shadow approaches Akira and calls him by name, casually asking how it's going. Quickly on his feet, Akira lies and says he's Kudo, an ordinary citizen of Frida. The shadow lady, not buying it for a second, chuckles and asks if he really thinks that lie will work. She teases him about still not being able to handle surprises. It turns out the shadow lady is his master, the one who taught him how to use magic when he first arrived in Domurda. She's a mysterious being, her face hidden in darkness, and her voice sounding more like a little girl than a young woman. Despite her appearance, her skills are the real deal. Though Akira hasn't seen her fight much, it's rumored she can kill any monster with a single blow. As far as he knows, she's one of the strongest people in Domurda, and she's surprisingly kind enough to let his bad lies slide at least. Determined to avoid any more deep dives, tells her he's not going to any deeper layers. The shadow lady, with a hint of mischief, reminds him that when she taught him magic, they agreed he would fight monsters whenever she needed him to. Akira, not remembering any such agreement, calls it a scam. He recalls a time when she dropped him into the lower depths to face a strong monster, a memory that still gives him shivers. The shadow lady counters that without that experience, he might not be calling her master today. Instead of teaching him magic the normal way, she told him to acquire the magic stone core of a monster from the really low depths. It seemed like she was trying her best to bring out his potential, but it was way too harsh. The monsters down there were much stronger than he was, always ready to deliver a post-apocalyptic beatdown. But it's also thanks to that tough training that Akira can do magic so well. Even though he's only been in Domurda for 6 months, he tells the shadow lady that safety comes first, so he won't be fighting any strong monsters. He asks her where she's planning to send him today. The shadow lady replies that they're heading to the Dungy Ooze Baths. Akira's eyes widen as he protests, saying the enemies there are way out of his league. The shadow lady hugs him from behind, assuring him he'll be fine. She suggests that if he's so worried he should trick someone into assisting him, maybe that drunkard he talks to a lot. Akira quickly points out that Michael is diving with his own team. The shadow lady teases him, saying he doesn't have many friends, which is pretty sad. Akira counters, claiming he has plenty of friends, and starts listing their names. The shadow lady, unimpressed, declares he's going solo. She heads a tempting offer, saying she'll teach him a new magic spell once he's done. The thought of learning a new spell makes Akira give in, ready to venture for her. She playfully licks his cheek and teases him, saying it's obvious from his smell that he's been up to something naughty. Akira, blushing and flustered, tries to protest but ends up just sighing. Later, Akira ventures into the Dungy Ooze Baths. The place gives him the creeps, making the dark corridor look like a cheerful stroll in the park. The Dungy Ooze Baths are located in the 3rd layer of the labyrinth and, depth-wise, only have 25 levels. Akira, not liking the vibe of this place one bit, asks the shadow lady if they can go somewhere else. The shadow lady, with a sly smile, says she was waiting for him to ask that. She tells him to go down to the 50th depth of the Ice Sheet Mountains and bring her the magic stone core of the Ice Age Sea Leopard. Akira can't believe his ears and asks if she's lost her marbles. The 4th layer is already dangerous enough, and the only person who can go that deep solo is Dragarian. The shadow lady, unfazed, tells him not to make such a fuss. She takes him to the monsters and instructs him to clear them out. With a mix of determination and a bit of grumbling, Akira uses his magic spells to take down the monsters one by one. The shadow lady, pleased with his performance, mentions she would have been happier if he had cleared the entire area. She then teases him a bit, just to keep things interesting, before leading him to the real challenge. The boss monster of the Slayer, the Toxin Chimera Zombie. This creature isn't particularly strong, but its massive size and the surrounding pit of poison make it a formidable foe. Not many hunt it. The swordsman can't get close enough to cause damage, and arrows from archers barely scratch it. This is where wizards come in, and since there are so few wizards in the world, they're incredibly sought after. Every time the toxin chimera zombie moves, it splashes poison swamp all over the place, not to mention the constant poison mist spewing from its mouth. Akira can't help but think he signed up for the worst spa treatment ever. He takes a deep breath, ready to prove his worth and maybe even get a bit of respect from his master. Akira reflects that his mind can't help but escape reality as he stands face to face with the boss monster. In the end, he knows he must listen to his master and defeat it, even if it's a life or death battle. He engages the toxin chimera zombie, and after a hard-fought battle with continuous attacks, Akira finally defeats it. Exhausted but triumphant, he returns to his master. He asks her, as promised, what type of magic she's going to teach him. In response, the Shadow Lady asks how many spells he can stack at a time. Akira tells her he can manage about 6 to 7 spells. I wonders if today's lesson is about stacking more spells. As she begins teaching him the new magic, she tells him that from this point onward, he will reach greater heights in magic. A girl is fighting an orc, currently covered in something sticky and on the verge of defeat. Just then, Akira approaches and uses his lightning magic, defeating the orc with a single shot. The girl thanks him, relief evident in her eyes. Akira, ever the gentleman, takes out a hairdryer and starts to dry her off. Noticing her kimono ears and tail, he realizes she must be from the Tailskin folk. The girl, catching him staring, asks why he's looking at her like that. Akira, a bit sheepishly, comments on how nice her tail looks. The girl, with a hint of pride, tells him she's proud of her tail and ears, and she spends every day grooming them. Akira, curious, asks her how a high-ranked adventurer like herself got into trouble with an orc. She explains that she had just slain the boss of the Hanging Gardens and, on her way back, ran into the orc. Akira is amazed, finding it extraordinary that she went to a crazy place like Depth 48 solo and defeated the Tempest Emperor. She must be really strong. The girl asks him how he knew she was a high-rank adventurer. Akira points out that her equipment looks very expensive, and only a high-class adventurer could afford it. She introduces herself as Eldred. Akira, wanting to ensure her safety, proposes that they head to the Adventurers Guild together. As Eldred reaches the guild, she recounts what has happened and finds Akira's actions both strange and cute. Anyone else would have demanded a hefty reward for saving her, but Akira refused to take anything from her. Eldred then goes to wash herself and, afterward, approaches Ashley. Ashley greets her warmly, asking how she's doing and inquiring about her quest. Eldred proudly tells her that she has defeated the Tempest Emperor as promised. However, on the way back, she encountered an orc but was saved by someone. Ashley notices Eldred's blushing and teases her, suggesting it seems like she's in love. Eldred, caught off guard, tries to deny it, but her flushed cheeks give her away. Ashley, intrigued, asks for the name of her savior. Eldred tells her it's Kudo. Ashley's eyes widen in surprise and she starts shouting that Eldred is in love with Kudo. Eldred, embarrassed, tells her to stop and then inquires about Kudo's rank. Ashley explains that Kudo is ranked somewhere around 30,000 since he joined just 6 months ago. Eldred can't believe it. Based on what she witnessed, it doesn't make sense that Kudo is ranked so low. She grabs Ashley, demanding to know if he's been properly ranked. Ashley defends herself, explaining that it's Kudo who doesn't want to be ranked higher, and it's not her fault. Eldred, still baffled, wonders why someone so capable would choose to stay under the radar. Meanwhile, Ashley teases her, suggesting that she might just have to get to know Kudo better to understand his mysterious ways. Eldred tells Ashley that Kudo uses Tier 4 magic spells. She then asks what rank someone capable of Tier 4 magic should be. Ashley replies that such a person should be somewhere around rank 30. Ashley adds that Kudo has a solid track record, having traversed the Dark Corridor and Dungy Ooze Baths as a solo wizard, and defeating the bosses there. Eldred is shocked and wonders why she has never heard about this. She reflects that Kudo seems to be like his father, always ventured deeper into the labyrinth and defeated the bosses. Eldred finds Akira amusing and feels excited to see him again later, curious to learn more about this mysterious and unassuming hero. Akira arrives at the Adventurers Guild and is greeted by an unusually excited Ashley. Sensing something fishy, Akira tells her she won't get anything from him. He suggests she finds a few boyfriends to fulfill her demands. Ashley, feigning offense, retorts that she isn't that much of a gold digger. Akira counters, asking why she's famous as the Witch of Gathering then. Switching the topic, Ashley asks if he can make potions. Akira, not wanting to answer, tries to brush her off, but Ashley persists. She keeps asking him if he can make potions, refusing to give up. Finally, she asks why he's been hiding this skill. Akira sighs and explains that if people find out, they'll constantly pester him to make potions for them. He doesn't want to spend all his time brewing potions when there are monsters to fight and spells to learn. Akira reflects that in this world, potions are a precious commodity. Drinking one can heal wounds with such effectiveness that it puts a surgeon to shame. The potion is a liquid that heals not only physical injuries but also traumatic ones. According to his master, it's like magic, acting as a bridge between being injured and being fully recovered. Despite this, Akira tells Ashley that he doesn't have time to make them. She reminds him of the gold potions he sold her. Akira recalls that when he was learning recovery magic, he became obsessed with making potions. He experimented by mixing anything he found, from teas to energy drinks, with potions to increase their effectiveness. He then sold the leftover potions to the guild for trial and error. Ashley tells him that the gold potion he made was so effective that she has received numerous letters from customers praising its benefits. It not only heals but also grants higher energy, stamina, and strength for a little while. She shows him the review letters from satisfied customers and urges him to make some more for her. Akira recalls that he mixed an energy drink with a potion from this world, accidentally creating the gold potion. Despite a lot of back and forth and many reluctant ifs and buts, Ashley somehow manages to convince Akira to make potions for the guild. Akira, slightly resigned but also a bit proud of his accidental creation, agrees to help. Ashley excitedly tells Akira to wait while she rushes off to inform the guildmaster about the good news, that Akira has agreed to make potions. Akira finds the whole situation a bit odd, but decides to go along with it. Moments later, Ashley returns and hands him a golden card, mentioning that it's a Potion Meister card of the highest rank. She reveals that they have made Akira a Potion Meister as well. Akira is taken aback and asks about the association that oversees potion making. Ashley explains that the Potion Association has merged into the Adventurers Association. The adventurers are the primary consumers of potions. After a bit of chatter, Akira finally accepts the Potion Meister card. However, he firmly states that they will need to negotiate the profit margins next time. With that, he decides it's time to get going. Akira recalls arriving in the world of Domurda about 6 months ago. He and his friends had tried a few methods from the Occult Research Club to travel to another world, and surprisingly, one of them worked. That's how he became an adventurer in this new world. After arriving, he learned the basics of labyrinth exploration and soon got busy with his master's requests and studying magic. In the present, a wizard named Ricky snaps him back to reality, asking if he's listening. Akira, a bit confused, asks who he is again. Ricky, visibly annoyed, reminds him that he's Ricky Rudiano, and that they have dived together before. Ricky tells Akira to stop pretending not to know him and declares that he wants to fight him. Ricky, the green wizard specializing in wind magic, wants to have a duel with Akira. It seems Ricky is determined to establish himself as the greatest wizard ever, and believes that to do so, he must fight and defeat Akira. Akira, on the other hand, does not want to fight Ricky, as he feels it's too dangerous. Ricky keeps insisting, while Akira keeps refusing. Soon Skrell arrives and asks Akira if he's about to dive into the labyrinth. She offers to join him if he is. As they prepare to depart, Ricky announces that he's coming with them too. Skrell, confused, inquires who he is. Akira initially pretends not to know Ricky, but after Ricky protests, he admits that he does know him. He explains that Ricky is a green wizard and a graduate of the top magic academy, Miriam. On the way to the labyrinth, Ricky keeps pestering Akira to fight him, while Akira continuously refuses, saying he gives up. Soon they reach level 20 of the Yellow Cliff Ruins. Skrell showcases her martial arts skills, effortlessly defeating the boss. Ricky, intrigued, asks if Skrell is from the Long Ear tribe. Akira takes the opportunity to tell Ricky her whole story, including how he used a spell to dispel her slave shackles. Ricky finds this both interesting and astonishing, especially the part about dispelling the slave shackles. Not missing a beat, Ricky challenges Akira to a fight again. Akira, however, firmly declines, having no interest in engaging with Ricky at the moment. Akira tells Ricky that Skrell is only friendly with him and generally despises other human beings. After dealing with the monsters, they reach the safe zone. Akira, feeling peckish, suggests that they take a break and offers them some salted bread. Skrell, eyeing the bread suspiciously, asks what the brown squiggly thing in it is. Akira casually replies that it's a sea anemone. Ricky, however, corrects him, saying these are called noodles and that he's seen them before. Curious, Ricky asks why Akira always brings this strange food with him and where he gets it from. This prompts Akira to share his story of coming from another world by chance. He tells them about the god Amethyst, who allowed him to arrive in this world and return home. He also shows them his scorecard, given to him by Amethyst when he first arrived in this world. Ricky and Skrell are even more surprised when Akira mentions that he has small talks with Amethyst whenever he comes to or goes back from this world. Akira explains that Amethyst has advised him to avoid doing anything bad and to do good things for the sake of others. On this day, Akira doesn't really want to go through the back alley, but he has to since the front is overly crowded. Just as he moves through the back alley, the Shadow Lady approaches him from behind, startling him. Akira protests, telling her not to appear so suddenly. The Shadow Lady shrugs, saying she can't help it. It's like telling her not to appear at all. Akira, guessing her motive, asks if she's after another stone core. She confirms, but assures him it's an easy one this time. Frustrated, Akira asks why she's always following him. She responds, saying he's like a support system to her. Akira feels his energy draining just thinking about it, and wonders if he really is a support system for his master. She hugs him from behind, and he remembers how she once killed a Flame Baron in the 30th floor in an instant, and that wasn't even 1% of her power. The Shadow Lady explains that if she could get the stone core herself, she would, but she cannot dive into the labyrinth herself. Akira, curious, asks why she needs stone cores so much. She cryptically tells him that one can do many things with them and promises to teach him in due time. Akira tries to make an excuse, saying he's not feeling well today. In response, the Shadow Lady dangles a tempting offer. In return for his help, she will teach him a new technique and even let him touch her melons. Akira, unable to resist the offer, accepts. Yeah, me too. I couldn't win against the booba. She takes him towards the labyrinth, specifically to the 14th layer cave where the Colossus sleeps. She leads him to Moonstone, a monster that looks like a stone statue but reveals its true nature and attacks when someone gets too close. This enemy seems simple to Akira, and he knows he can take it down in one shot. However, the Shadow Lady introduces a twist. She tells Akira to defeat the stone statue with close combat, forbidding him from using his lightning magic. Akira, though puzzled by the request, agrees. To her surprise, Akira uses his third spell, Amethyst Orbit, and combines it with a lightning kick. With a single kick, he destroys the statue. The Shadow Lady, surprised and pleased, acknowledges that Akira knows a bit of close combat. Akira retrieves the stone core and excitedly presents it to his master. Pleased with his success, the Shadow Lady inquires about his close combat technique. Akira explains that he combines his two techniques. Now it's time for the Shadow Lady to teach Akira the technique she promised. She presents him with a scenario. What will he do when surrounded by many wizards? Akira responds that he would use barrier magic. She asks what he would do after that. Akira pauses to think. She explains that staying on defense will only lead to being bombarded with magic until he collapses. He needs to be offensive as well. She offers to teach him a technique that is useful in such situations. The Shadow Lady begins to teach Akira a technique called Force Esoterica. This technique releases a burst of compressed magic power inside the body, allowing one to erase the magic that the enemy has launched. It's like canceling someone's magic without casting a spell, using only raw magic power. She instructs Akira to concentrate his magical power and then release it. Remarkably, Akira manages to do it in a short time, much to her astonishment. She then tells him that if he thinks they're done with just that, he doesn't know her well enough. Akira starts crying, calling her demon and a devil. She encourages him to do his best, reminding him that if he doesn't survive, he won't get to touch her melons. With that dubious motivation, Akira steels himself for the next round of grueling training, knowing he needs every ounce of his newfound skills to keep up with his relentless master. Akira finds himself at the adventure taste, so he's brought his own lunch. He dreams of whipping up his own meals, but cooking isn't his strong suit. Anything involving simmering food feels like a culinary Mount Everest to him. Akira resorts to asking his mom for help because, let's face it, following a recipe from YouTube might as well be deciphering ancient runes for him. But after a few attempts, he finally manages to cook something of his own. Naturally, he gets a bit too enthusiastic and ends up making way too much, completely overcrowding the fridge. His mom gives him a good scolding for his overzealous cooking spree, but at least he's learning. Now Akira faces the challenge of eating all this food before it spoils. He even shares half with his childhood friend to help lighten the load. As he's munching away, Eldred approaches and greets him. Akira reflects that he initially thought she was the eager type, but she's actually quite reserved and surprisingly shy. Eldred asks Akira if he's heading to the labyrinth now. Akira responds that he'll go once he's finished eating. He notices she's not carrying her bag and asks about it. Eldred explains that once adventurers reach a certain rank, their belongings are sent home for them. She then asks Akira about his next destination. Akira mentions he's going to the forest to do some weeding and gather ingredients to make tea for himself. Eldred then asks if Akira can make potions too. He nods and replies that he can, but quickly adds that she shouldn't tell anyone. Eldred agrees, noting that if people found out, he'd be swamped with requests. Akira grumbles that he really hates that idea. Eldred reassures him, promising she won't spill the beans. Akira reflects on how honest and serious she seems, finding himself starting to trust her. Akira notices Eldred eyeing his food and invites her to join him. Guessing she must be hungry after returning from the labyrinth, he assures her that he has plenty, so she shouldn't worry. Eldred agrees and takes a bite, her eyes lighting up in surprise at the delicious taste. It's as if she's tasting something extraordinary for the first time. Akira mentions that he made the food himself, admitting that cooking is hard but manageable if you have the right ingredients, follow the recipe, and apply the correct amount of heat. Eldred compliments the taste, and Akira beams with pride. He then asks if she would be willing to dive into a labyrinth with him, particularly seeking her help with the Eternal Night Meadow. Eldred responds confidently, telling him to count on her. She visits there sometimes too. The next day, Akira visits a certain potion store to buy some potions. Ashley recommended this store, so he has high hopes. As he arrives, the receptionist greets him warmly and asks if he's there to buy expensive potions. Akira chuckles and admits that his current income doesn't allow for such luxuries. The receptionist then informs him that a diver just bought all their potions. They have nothing left in stock. She apologizes, explaining that she can't help him right now. Akira finds her manner of speaking a bit odd, but politely asks if she could reserve a potion for him. The receptionist apologizes again, explaining that it's against their policy and that if the drivers found out, they'd protest. Akira explains to the receptionist that he urgently needs a Melmel potion and asks if there's any way he can reserve it, even offering to pay extra. The receptionist firmly tells him there's no way to do so. Frustrated but determined, Akira pulls out a special grade card and shows it to the receptionist, saying it's his price. The receptionist is shocked at the sight of the card and asks where he got it. Akira casually explains that it's thanks to a gold potion he made. It's a super effective potion that's currently famous in Frida. The receptionist stares at him in amazement, realizing she's dealing with a potion-making prodigy. Akira explains that he uses Melmel's potion as a base to prepare the gold potion. The guild wants him to supply the gold potion regularly, which is why he urgently needs the Melmel potion. The receptionist, realizing this is beyond her authority, decides to call the manager. The manager, a tall, stern-looking individual dressed in black, arrives and asks if there's a problem. The receptionist quickly explains the situation, highlighting Akira's special grade card and his need for the Melmel potion to continue making the sought-after gold potion. Soon, the stylish manager in black arrives and asks Akira if he needs the Melmel potion to make the gold potion. Akira nods and explains that the guild wants him to produce these potions regularly and that he also needs a store to distribute them. The manager ponders the situation and then says he can arrange a distributor, but they will have to pay extra. Akira responds confidently, stating he can pay double or even triple the usual amount. He adds the money isn't an issue since the guild already compensates him well for his potions. The manager seems pleased with the proposal and states that Akira will receive 20%. He'll take 30%, and the remaining 50% will go to the distributor. Akira agrees without hesitation, and the deal is sealed. On another day, Akira arrives at the Adventurers Guild earlier than usual. Squirrel approaches him, noting his unusually early appearance. Akira explains that in this world, it's Sunday and he has school off, so he decided to come early. Akira then asks Squirrel where she plans to go today. Squirrel mentions she's planning to dive into the damp swamp dungeon, however she admits she would love for him to take her to his world. She reveals that she's been wanting to visit his world for a long time and has been thinking about it more lately. Akira assures her that he will take her to his world, but there are a few things they need to handle first. They have to cover her ears, and they need to find some outfits for her since she can't go dressed as she is now. Plus, Akira needs to ask Amethyst, the god, for permission. Once all these tasks are done, he promises to take her to his world. Squirrel's excitement is almost palpable, and Akira can't help but chuckle at the thought of introducing her to his everyday life. He instructs Squirrel that in his world, she can't go around fighting anyone or being reckless. She absolutely cannot attack people. If things get serious, the police will show up and they'll both be in a lot of trouble, so she needs to be extra careful and keep her warrior instincts in check. Squirrel asks if a god really lives in a place like this. Akira explains that the place changes from day to day, so it's not always the same. Sometimes it's an empty white room, and other times it resembles a room in a foreign country. The place changes every time he comes here, but he is certain they're headed to where the god is right now. Akira and Squirrel have come here to see the god because, in order to cross between their world and the modern world, they must come here first. In other words, it's essential to greet the god to cross over. Meanwhile, the so-called god lounges in a sofa, reading a book. Akira enters and greets him, mentioning that he's back. The god looks up and asks if something is wrong or if Akira has forgotten something. Akira explains that his friend wants to visit Japan, so he wants to bring her along. He reminds the god that he said it was okay before, but he just wanted to confirm. The god replies that it's fine. Squirrel, taken aback by the god's relaxed response, freezes up. Akira guesses it's not quite what she imagined. She asks Akira if that really is him. Akira nods and confirms that the relaxed figure is the god Amethyst. Squirrel thinking calling a god uncle is disrespectful, but the god chimes in, saying he doesn't mind. Despite this, Squirrel kneels and thanks Lord Amethyst for his daily blessings, hoping to continue following the words and promises of the gods for a fruitful life. Amethyst looks a bit awkward and admits he's not used to this kind of reverence. Akira finds all this odd and mentions to Squirrel that the god is not usually so formal with him. Squirrel insists that there is still a limit and urges Akira to be respectful. Akira agrees, nodding earnestly. Amethyst then asks if Squirrel wants to go to Akira's world. Akira confirms this, seeking the god's permission. Amethyst says he doesn't mind, but points out that Squirrel can't go looking like she does now. He adds that he needs to change a few things, starting with her ears. Akira, curious, asks what he's going to do. Amethyst replies nonchalantly that he's just going to use some magic, god power, to be precise. With a casual wave of his hand, Squirrel's long ears transform into normal human ears in an instant. Amethyst then shows Squirrel a mirror. Seeing herself, Squirrel has mixed feelings since the pride of her race, her ears, seem gone. Amethyst quickly reassures her that he didn't actually change them, he just made them appear that way. To prove it, Akira gently squeezes her ears and confirms they're still there. Squirrel, a bit flustered, tells him not to touch them without asking. Amethyst comments on how well they get along, and with a flick of his finger, he changes her clothes into a school uniform. Squirrel finds the outfit adorable and notes how different it is from Akira's clothes. Akira smirks and mentions that his clothes are special. Amethyst adds that he will also grant Squirrel the ability to understand the language in Akira's world. He advises her to go with the flow and use common sense, and that's all she needs. He assures her that she won't be in danger and encourages her to relax and have fun. And so, Squirrel's little adventure begins. They are transported to Akira's room in Japan. Squirrel looks around curiously as Akira mentions that he needs to change first. He feels a bit awkward changing in front of the opposite sex now, probably because of that event from before. Moments later, Akira is changed into a t-shirt. Squirrel comments that these clothes look better on him. Akira explains that his usual outfit is easy to move around in and he doesn't care if it gets dirty, so he typically wears it. Squirrel still thinks it's weird. Akira then takes Squirrel outside to show her his world. She looks around, bewildered by the sight of so many big buildings, and guesses that the quality of life in this world is quite high. Akira mentions that a 20-story building is normal here, but things were completely different 200 and even 100 years ago. Squirrel asks how things can change so quickly. Akira guesses it shows that human greed knows no bounds. Squirrel comments that humans are really greedy and foolish. Just then, Squirrel starts walking towards the road. Akira quickly forbids her, explaining that it's dangerous because cars travel there. Squirrel asks about cars, so Akira tells her to watch as one approaches and speeds by. Squirrel is shocked by the fast-moving vehicle. Akira explains that the car burns fuel to turn its wheels. Squirrel, puzzled, asks how burning fuel can turn wheels. Akira says he'll show her a picture and pulls out his mobile to show her a video of a car being fueled and working. Squirrel comments that this world is amazing, with so many interesting things. Akira says that while it's normal for them, he understands it must be exciting for someone from another world. He admits he was also thrilled when he first arrived in Domerda. Pointing towards the train station basement, Squirrel asks Akira if it's some sort of dungeon. Akira laughs and explains that there aren't any dungeons in this world. He asks why she thought it was one. She replies that the young men leaving with dead eyes made her assume they were coming from a very deep level. Akira, curious, asks if she wants to go in. Squirrel eagerly agrees. He takes her hand and they explore the city together. After a while, Akira goes to get ice cream for both of them. Meanwhile, two boys pass by and one of them hits on Squirrel. The next moment, they're lying unconscious on the road. Akira returns and asks whether they're on the ground. Squirrel casually says that they just suddenly collapsed. Akira, skeptical, says she must be lying. Squirrel admits she gave them a little tap. Akira points out that no one gets knocked out from a tap. Squirrel shrugs and comments that humans are fragile creatures and insists she didn't hurt them. Akira, exasperated, asks if she's sure, and she nonchalantly replies that she doesn't know. Akira sighs, thinking this adventure might be more challenging than he anticipated. Akira says this isn't ideal and suggests they leave before the boys wake up. He then hands Squirrel her ice cream. She munches on it, finding it incredibly yummy and delicious. Akira tells her not to eat while running and to behave. Squirrel replies that she just couldn't resist. Later, as they sit together, Akira notices a spot of ice cream on her cheek and finds it cute. He asks if she wants some juice while he's getting some for himself. Squirrel happily requests the orange juice she had earlier, excited to have it again because it's so tasty. As Akira leaves to get the juice, Squirrel looks around and finds the playground equipment fascinating. She realizes she can't play with the kids but still enjoys watching them. She then looks up and sees an airplane, wondering if it's a bird or something humans made. Squirrel marvels at the countless interesting things in this world. thinking that even if she stayed for a year, she wouldn't be able to see everything. Just then, a pervert in a crab costume approaches Skrell, introducing himself as Neen. Skrell, noticing he looks injured, suggests he should go to the hospital. Instead, he starts teasing her. Irritated, Skrell punches him, sending him flying. He returns and continues to irritate her. Unable to bear it anymore, Skrell uses her powers and makes him explode. Seeing the explosion, Akira comes running back with juice in his hands and asks Skrell what happened. Skrell calmly explains that a pervert was teasing her, so she taught him a lesson. Akira sighs and tells her not to do the same with normal humans. Skrell nods, though she can't help but feel a bit proud of her decisive action. Akira, on the other hand, wonders how many more surprises this day will bring. They continue exploring the city, and Akira asks Skrell what she wants to do next. She expresses interest in seeing the weapons of this world and maybe buying some. Akira tells her that's not possible. Skrell then says she needs food. Akira reminds her that she just had 2 ice creams, but she insists on having more. Deciding to take her to a nearby family restaurant, they start walking. Suddenly, a strong smell of food catches Skrell's attention, and she eagerly follows it. They end up in front of an eel restaurant, where a chef is grilling eel in soy sauce. Akira catches up and explains that the enticing aroma is from the soy sauce. He asks if she wants to try it. Skrell says she'll try it if Akira does. They enter the restaurant and order the seal. Skrell enjoys 2 full servings, savoring every bite. Akira watches her with a mix of amusement and satisfaction, happy to see her enjoying the new experience. Later, Skrell returns to her world, bringing some sauce with her, but that's another story for another time.